we didn't talk about Uber.
Oh boy, did you read that? Was unbelievable.
So a Uber engineer at Uber wrote a Medium post talking about, she no longer is at Uber, talking about her experiences with Uber HR and sexual harassment. And while she was there, not only Susan J. Fowler is her name, not only did she experience really just horrific, I guess it wasn't on Medium, it was on her blog, I apologize, susanjfowler.com, a horrific experience, but she noted that female engineers declined, I think by the time she left from, it was still not a massive proportion, but of over 150 engineers on the team that she was on, which was software reliability, only 3% were women by the time she left.
Her organization was, when she joined Uber, the organization she was part of was over 25% women.
3%
but by the
when
time
she left.
was trying to transfer to another engineering organization, it had dropped down to less than 6%.
And she was there, about a year, right? She and in that time, it's just almost Kafkaesque the way she was treated, the denial. And then, of course, Travis Kalanick, the CEO of Uber, said, well, I can't believe it. I'm shocked. And to their credit, they appointed Eric Holder, former Attorney General Eric Holder, to a independent investigatory committee to get to the bottom.
Oh, and Ariana tried to cover her tracks as a board member.
Oh, she was furious. She was furious.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I saw her response right away. In fact, it was her response that led me to Susan Fowler's piece.
I happened to read, somebody tweeted the piece right after it went up, and I then watched the storm, which was fascinating to see. But I'm sorry, we've known that Uber is a culture of jerks and worse from the beginning.
It's really the programmers thing, and the sad thing was that HR was protecting
the bros
and managers who were acting completely horrifically towards female employees, and it's very sad. It's terrible. So I think this is going to really add to the no Uber movement. What is it called? Where you hashtag
delete
Uber.
Well, Stacy can't have it anyway.
There's no Uber in Austin because you got taxis.
Oh, guys coming in, people who are coming in for South by Southwest. Let me just tell you right now, Ride Austin, Fare, Fasten.
Good.
And Wings with a G.
Ride Austin.
Sorry, Wings with a Z.
Wings with a G would be just wings. Wings with a Z. Wings. Well, I actually, the last time I was out South by Southwest, Uber is sponsoring the pedicabs.
My friend is a co-owner in that pedicab business. It was a good deal for them.
Oh, I was fun. I rode it everywhere.
Wait, we have to go back to this because I read this and not only did my head feel like it was about to explode, but I feel like in watching some of the original comments, because I also saw this when it went out because this is the stuff I live for. So many people were saying to her, stop whining, or how do we know this is true? Yes. The early comments had a lot of that. But you still see this here there's a lot of comments in here saying, get thee to a lawyer, because that's the only way we're going to hold these guys accountable. And in one sense, totally correct. But I think it is so frustrating when women report these things and the instant response is, well, God, why didn't you sue? When we have seen women sue for sexual harassment and seen how hard it is. Yes. So I would like to say, yay, lady, for doing this. I have a friend who runs HR at a large publicly traded company and has done a couple of these in the tech world. And she's like, I would never hire for anyone who's worked in an HR capacity at Uber. She's like, none, based on this.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need people like the board members saying, because I'm sorry, this is not an isolated problem. And this woman clearly paints how not an isolated problem it is, but people who think they are engaging in quote unquote locker room talk in the workplace, just freaking stop it. It is enraging. Yeah. And there are so many women. I mean, and we saw this on stage at the presidential debate, but it's not funny. It's not helpful. And if you do it, you are just alienating half the population around you, your customer base, and people like me who are way too aggressive, not too aggressive, who are really aggressive and will speak out. But,
Well, and it also makes me sad because this is why there's so little diversity in tech. It's just not, it can be very hostile to not just women, but minorities of all kinds. It
should make you angry.
Well, it makes me angry, but it hurts everybody. It hurts. It absolutely hurts everybody.
Yep.
People don't think that it hurts everybody.
It's even if it's not about itself, it's wrong. It's incredibly wrong.
Yeah. Diversity is not just a political point of view. When it comes to tech, if you don't have a diverse workforce, you don't have diverse products. You don't have products that work for everybody. You have products that work for programmers, and it's not good for the business. It's not good for us as users. So
and Uber had that, because people complaining about sexual assault and that sort of thing.
Was it? There's the Uber pronoun problem too. There's all sorts of things, little, big, and little. But obviously, what happened to her was very big and is shameful. And I think writing a blog post, that's a pretty good way to get back at him.
Oh, it was
well documented. I mean, she did a really good job. It wasn't, and she had been documenting it all along. But at one point was told to stop doing that.
Yes. Well, this is kind of different. So you remember the woman who complained about not having a living wage while working on customer service for, was it Airbnb? Was it, help me out here, guys. This is like a year and a half ago. It was some Bay Area company, and everyone got mad at that company for a hot second. And she kind of came across as more entitled than this woman who did a really good job, I guess, in that line. Anyway.
Yeah, and there's also the Ellen Chow. Not Ellen Chow. She's
Ellen Pao.
Ellen Pao, that's right.
Yeah, Pao.
There's an example, by the way, of why women don't go to lawyers often, because it can, she who did she sue? She went against
Kleiner Perkins?
KP, that's right.
Yeah.
And lost in a very brutal, repulsive trial. And it was very damaging to her. That's why people don't.
She left Reddit then next, right?
She went to Reddit, was there briefly, and now she's running, as we know, because she was the one complaining at YC about Peter Thiel's presence. She's running that diversity-focused startup with, I don't know if she's in YC. I think she is. Anyway, but that's exactly why you don't sue, because you don't want to go through that.
Right. Among other reasons.
Yeah, there are lots of reasons, yeah.
And
but
it's
I like
not a
the
good
blog
way to change
post.
the culture.
The blog post worked. I think that was a good way to do it.
It had to be really hard to write it without anger. It just let the facts speak for themselves. Yeah. It was really well written. It was very direct. She deserved anger. She deserved a few FUs to the place, and she didn't.
She didn't.
And
of all the complaints that we've been seeing all along about Uber, this is the one that seems like this might do the most to either change the culture or bring Uber down, I think. We'll see. It's a pretty big company with lots of funding.
Yep.